What if your most treasured childhood memory is actually a beautifully crafted lie? And the unsettling truth is, your own brain is the one deceiving you. Whenever you recall a memory, your mind isn't just hitting replay. It quietly unlocks the file, alters the details, and permanently overwrites the original. This means the magic of your first kiss, or your favorite family holiday, might not exist exactly the way you think it happened. In neuroscience, this phenomenon is called memory reconsolidation. It's one of the most profound discoveries about the human mind, yet it's rarely talked about. Think of it like opening the same Word document every year. You make one tiny edit, hit save, and eventually, the original draft is lost forever. Your memories are living, breathing narratives. They are constantly being rewritten, rather than perfectly preserved, like footage on a hard drive. For years, scientists assumed our memory worked like a camera, capturing an event once, and replaying it flawlessly, without missing a beat. But modern brain imaging tells a far more fragile story. The exact moment you bring a memory back to life, it becomes incredibly vulnerable. In that brief window, your current emotions, things you've recently heard, and pure imagination can easily slip into the story before it's saved again. And here is the truly terrifying part. Once your brain saves this newly updated memory, it accepts it as the absolute, unquestionable truth. This is exactly why you and a sibling can argue over a childhood event, both of you completely convinced that your version is 100% accurate. Neither of you is lying. Your brains just reconstructed the same afternoon, using slightly different emotional building blocks over the years. Imagine your memory as a massive jigsaw puzzle. Every time you rebuild it, a few pieces are quietly replaced before the picture is complete. The changes start small. A room feels a bit wider. A jacket changes color. A conversation echoes, much kinder than it actually was. But after decades of remembering, those micro-edits stack up until the remixed version feels far more authentic than the original reality. So, if our past is in a constant state of revision, it begs a deeply uncomfortable question: how much of your personal history is actually real? The answer shocked researchers, but your brain isn't making mistakes. It's executing the exact job evolution designed it to do. To your brain, survival will always matter more than a perfect historical record. A memory that helps you today is vastly more valuable than a flawless replay. In short, your mind isn't trying to be an objective documentary filmmaker. It's trying to be your ultimate, personalized survival guide. And once you realize that your brain is constantly editing the reality of your past, you will never trust your own memories the exact same way again. To understand why memories change, we first need to meet the brain's master storyteller. A tiny, seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus. Think of the hippocampus as your mind's head librarian. It doesn't simply hoard experiences. It carefully threads them together into meaningful narratives. Every sight, sound, and sudden emotion arrives completely shattered. Your brain has to frantically stitch those fragments together before they even become a memory. This means memories are constructed, not recorded. They are beautifully written novels, not untouched security camera footage. But here is where things get truly bizarre. Every single time you recall an event, that carefully built story temporarily shatters before being rebuilt from scratch. In those fleeting moments, your brain becomes dangerously flexible. New emotions and outside information quietly contaminate the original experience. Scientists discovered that recalled memories become highly unstable. They act like wet cement before hardening into a completely new shape. Once the process finishes, your brain locks the updated version into the vault, convinced that it represents exactly what happened. This perfectly explains why childhood memories often feel warmer, brighter, and happier than reality, especially after years of family storytelling. Every nostalgic story your parents told, every faded photograph you stared at, quietly reprogrammed the memory, living inside your own mind. But time isn't the only thing that alters the past. Sometimes, a single, carefully planted question is enough to rewrite someone's history forever. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus proved this exact phenomenon in one of the most influential and terrifying memory experiments ever performed. Volunteers watched a video of the exact same traffic accident. Everyone witnessed the identical footage from beginning to end. Later, researchers asked them one simple question, but deliberately changed a single word. The results shocked the scientific community. People who were asked how fast the cars smashed together remembered a far more violent crash than those who heard the word hit. Some participants even hallucinated seeing shattered glass, despite the fact that no broken glass ever existed in the original video. Their brains weren't maliciously lying. They were simply filling in the blind spots with details that felt believable. Once those fabricated details breached the memory, they felt just as real as the events they had actually witnessed with their own two eyes. This is why eyewitness testimony, no matter how convincing, is often considered the absolute least reliable form of evidence in a courtroom. And if a single, manipulated word can completely alter a memory, imagine what years of conversations, photos, and social media have already done to yours. It gets even stranger. Scientists have proven that you can develop highly vivid memories of events that never even happened. These aren't blurry guesses or wild fantasies. They feel detailed, highly emotional, and entirely authentic to the person remembering them. In one famous psychological experiment, volunteers were told a childhood story about getting lost inside a crowded shopping mall. But there was a massive catch. The story was completely fabricated. The event had never actually happened to them. Yet, after just a few conversations, many participants confidently described this imaginary event with remarkable detail and absolute certainty. Some even remembered the face of the stranger who helped them, the clothes they wore, and the sheer panic they supposedly felt. Their brains didn't unearth a repressed memory. They built a brand new illusion, forged purely from suggestion and imagination. This happens because your brain craves a complete narrative, even if it has to invent a few missing puzzle pieces along the way. Imagine reading a gripping novel with a few missing pages. Your mind automatically fills in the blanks to keep the story flowing. Your memory works in exactly the same way. It despises empty spaces, so it quietly patches them with the most believable lies. This hidden glitch doesn't just alter childhood nostalgia. It dictates everyday conversations, relationships, and even major life decisions. It is why two friends can remember the exact same argument completely differently. Each brain rebuilt the fight from its own emotional vantage point. Neither memory is perfectly accurate. Both are heavily edited stories, sculpted by personal feelings and deeply rooted expectations. This also explains why emotional memories grow stronger over time, even as the actual, factual details quietly evaporate. Your brain doesn't preserve every fact equally. It protects the emotional core at all costs, and simply rebuilds the rest of the stage around it. That is exactly why you might completely forget what someone said, but you will never forget how they made you feel. Surprisingly, this isn't a biological flaw. It's actually one of evolution's most brilliant shortcuts for surviving a highly unpredictable world. Maintaining perfect historical accuracy would drain enormous mental energy. Instead, your brain constantly negotiates between truth and survival. But, if your memories are constantly shifting in the shadows, how can you ever be certain of what actually happened? The answer to that question explains one of the internet's most unsettling mysteries, and why millions of people remember the exact same thing, completely wrong. Welcome to one of the strangest phenomena on the internet, the Mandela Effect. A mass glitch, where millions of people confidently remember events that never actually happened. The phenomenon gets its name from the masses who sincerely believed Nelson Mandela died in prison, decades before he actually became president of South Africa. Thousands of strangers shared the exact same vivid memory. They detailed television broadcasts, global mourning, and conversations that never truly existed. At first glance, it sounds entirely impossible. How could so many disconnected people remember the exact same false event with such unwavering confidence? Some blamed alternate timelines and parallel universes. Others pointed to secret government experiments. The internet birthed countless wild theories almost overnight. But neuroscience offers a far simpler explanation. And it's even more unsettling, because it is happening inside every single, healthy human brain. Our minds naturally compress information. They hunt for familiar patterns, rather than hoarding every microscopic detail, exactly as reality presented it. When massive groups of people grow up with similar cultural experiences, their brains often fill in the missing gaps, using the exact same mental shortcuts. That is why entire generations can confidently remember the same corporate logo, iconic movie quote, or childhood cartoon, completely wrong. The false memories feel identical, because human brains solve missing information using the exact same biological rules, forged by millions of years of evolution. Instead of storing perfect, high-definition snapshots, your brain saves useful patterns that can rapidly predict what is most likely to happen next. Most of the time, this evolutionary cheat code works beautifully. It helps you recognize faces, process language, and react to danger in a fraction of a second. But occasionally, these helpful mental shortcuts create powerful illusions. Memories that feel incredibly real, while slowly drifting away from historical reality. Your deep sense of confidence doesn't come from accuracy. It comes from how flawlessly your brain stitched that reconstructed memory into your personal life story. This is exactly why arguing facts rarely changes someone's memory. You aren't just challenging their information, you are attacking the identity built around it. In so many ways, your memories act as the invisible blueprint that your brain uses to explain exactly who you are and how the world works. Every single decision, deep-rooted fear, and future expectation grows from a garden of remembered experiences that are constantly pruned and updated throughout your life. So, if those foundational memories are constantly changing, something much bigger is shifting alongside them, the very person you believe yourself to be. The greatest illusion isn't that our memories can change. It is the terrifying fact that we rarely even notice the changes, while they are quietly happening inside us. And that leaves us with one final, haunting question. If your past is constantly being rewritten, what exactly makes you the same person today? Neuroscientists have debated this question for decades. If our memories truly shape our identity, then our identity itself may be far more flexible than we ever dared to imagine. Every conversation you have, every photo you revisit, and every story you tell, slightly reshapes the person you will become tomorrow. In other words, you are not carrying a perfectly preserved past. You are carrying the latest, most convenient version your brain decided was necessary. That is not a flaw in human biology. It is an incredible, survival-driven system that helps you adapt to a constantly changing world. Imagine remembering every single painful moment, with perfect, high-definition detail forever. Your brain would never truly heal, forgive, or move forward. Instead, your mind softens the sharpest edges, strengthens the vital lessons, and quietly lets the unnecessary details fade into the background. That invisible editing process may be the hidden reason why we recover from heartbreak, trauma, and failure far more often than we realize. Your brain isn't trying to preserve a stagnant museum of the past. It is building a dynamic guidebook, designed to help you survive whatever comes next. So the next time someone remembers a moment differently, pause before assuming they are wrong. Their brain may have simply written another chapter. Memory isn't a security camera recording objective reality. It is a living, breathing story rewritten every time you choose to open its pages. Perhaps the most remarkable discovery isn't that memories change. It is that we continue to trust them completely without ever noticing the edits. Right now, your brain is already deciding which parts of this video you will keep and which parts will slowly disappear into the void. Months from now, you will likely recall the big ideas, but the specific details will have quietly transformed into something uniquely yours. Without even realizing it, you will remember this entire video differently from every other person watching it today. Maybe that is what makes every human mind so extraordinary. We don't simply collect memories, we continuously recreate our own reality through them. So, here is one final question. Which memory in your life has changed the most over time? And would you even recognize the original if you saw it again? Let me know your answer in the comments below. If this video made you question your own reality, hit the like button and subscribe for more. But don't leave just yet. If you found this mind-bending, you need to see what your brain is doing when you think you are completely alone. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover the next mystery. I will see you over there.